I've always been curious about blockchain and how it works, and obviously how it helps ordinary citizens and, of course, small, medium enterprises. So, today's episode, I have the privilege of speaking to a blockchain blogger who's also a co founder of a number of initiatives in the Lesotho context, and, of course, a business woman. Hello, hello.
Hi.
How do you feel? So, for the people who are watching this, what they don't know is we had to reshoot this again because,
Sure.
if anything can go Murphy's Law, if anything can go wrong, it definitely will go wrong.
Sure.
But we're so committed to the process. And thank you so much for coming back to have this conversation again.
It's okay.
I love it. So, for people who don't know who you are, who would you say Nene is?
Okay, thank you so much, firstly, for having me again. So, Nene is firstly a strong believer in God,
Mhm.
a person who is passionate about immersion technologies and how they can help emerging countries or emerging economies leapfrog. A person who's also very passionate about marginalized people and how we can include them in societal areas where they are marginalized from.
Mhm.
And lastly, a certified project manager.
Girl, certified. So
Yes.
I actually love that certification, right? So maybe talk us through your academic journey. How did you become certified? What did that journey look like? What did you study? I know you also studied in Mauritius. So talk us through that journey.
Yes, I did. So after my IB,
Mhm.
did my IB diploma.
For people who don't know what IB is, what is IB?
Okay, it's okay. An IB diploma, International Baccalaureate diploma.
Mhm.
So it's a diploma that really well prepares you for university. Well, in my case, that's what
Sure.
I felt like. So right after my IB diploma, I wasn't sure as to what I wanted to do
Mhm.
even after IB. A
Sure.
lot of people around me knew exactly what they wanted to do and they pursued it. So I had to take a gap year just to kind of think things through
Sure.
as to what I really want to do. At one point I was interested in economics, at another point I was interested in finance, at another point it was entrepreneurship, at another point it was business. But then I realized, okay, these things have one thing in common.
Sure.
I love money. So let me just pursue something that will help me. So I took a gap year. And then I was also very interested in law at one point.
Hmm.
So I applied for quite a number of schools. I applied to local schools and I also applied to international schools until I eventually went to university in Mauritius at the African Leadership University to study business management with an honors. But before that, I was like, okay, my parents and everyone around me, they want me to do law. Let me just see what it could potentially have. So I studied law for like maybe 3 months and I was certain that this is not it for me.
Sure.
So I went to the African Leadership University. It was a new university. No one had heard about it. They were looking for a first cohort of students. And since I was a bit confused, but I knew what they were offering because of a TED talk that I listened to from the founder, I was like, you know what? Maybe this is it. Maybe this is where I should be. They are saying they are working on building the next African leaders. And, yeah, maybe that's what I want to be, a next African leader. So I convinced my mom at the end of the day, can you please let me go to this new school that you have probably never heard about, that I've never heard about too, that I can't show you pictures of students who have gone to,
Girl.
but I really believe in
In a
because
foreign
in a
country.
foreign country and they're
Great.
giving me everything like a flight ticket, a laptop, and housing and tuition. So I think this is where I want to go. So she eventually let me go and I went to African Leadership University. In the first year, I feel like it was for me because in the first year, it was just a year where we focused on soft skills and hard skills that are needed in the
Mm.
professional world, where you got to see exactly what you really wanted to pursue. So they gave you that year to really do different things like data analysis, like communicating for impact, like different skills. They were building different skills that could also, help you make a decision
Mm.
on where you really wanted to be. So then I even went for an internship in the first year at an NGO where I was doing a project management internship. And I was like, maybe I really love project management.
Mm.
And it's so broad, it can allow me to pursue the passion that I have, which I'm still not sure what it was at that
Sure.
moment, but it could let me go into different industries because a project is a project. So then that's how I pursued my business management degree, and also did my honors degree focused on blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And then after that, I was like, okay, let me just maybe get a certification in project management because I had already gotten a job in project management. I'm like, I love this thing. Like,
Mm.
it's so amazing seeing something that you can conceptualize and then bring into reality. And then it doesn't make an impact on you only, but it makes an impact in society, a very positive impact. So I was like, let me just pursue a certification in project management and see where it can lead me. And that's how I eventually pursued project management.
Correct. So you mentioned earlier on that you love money.
Yes, I do. We
I
do.
love how boldly you say that.
I love
So,
it.
what would you say is your relationship with money? Any blunders that you have made, any milestones you've achieved when it comes to money? What does money mean to you?
Yes, I've made blunders with money. I'm sure everyone has made blunders with money. So don't judge. I think the biggest blunder that I've made with money is that I hadn't defined my relationship with money when I got my first huge role.
Mhm.
So you get money coming in. It's the first time you see, the zeros in your account, and you just don't know what to do
Sure.
with it because you haven't really defined what money means to you. So when I was getting the money, I knew I wanted to invest or save. So I did that, luckily, but without a goal.
Sure.
I did that. I was like, okay, let me talk to different people. Okay, invest in this, invest in that. But you can invest in this, invest in that, put your money in different vehicles. But if you don't have a goal,
Mm.
you'll find yourself using that money for things that are not related to what your goal is.
Sure.
So I didn't define what an emergency is to me. I felt like, you know what? Okay, I'm tired and I really want to do this, but I don't have money now. So maybe it's an emergency because it's for my mental health. I take out the money and use it. So I think that's a very big mistake that I did. I did not define what I wanted to do with the investments that I was making, the savings that I was making, and I did not define what maybe an emergency means to me, what I can use that money for. So it was just a lot of things. You
Mm.
have this amount of money, but you don't really know what to do with it. So I feel like that was the biggest mistake that I did. But then eventually you grow and you
Hopefully.
get, yeah, you get to see that there's so much more that can come out of your savings or investments. And that's when my co-founder approached me and said, I know you've always wanted to start this kind of business, and I want to start it too. And I'm like, hey, I feel like this is what I could use the money that I have for, building towards equity, building towards what I envision my future relationship should be with money, building towards the life that I want to live. So eventually, I feel like a milestone would be co-founding a business with the money that I did not initially know what to do with, and with money that was from my 9 to 5 job.
Oh, so I love the fact that you mentioned the 9 to 5. So a lot of young professionals, particularly in the 9 to 5, have this perception that because you're working a 9 to 5, you are selling your soul to and financing, helping somebody achieve the dream. I think there's that trend on social media. There's also that perception that your salary cannot do a lot of things, you know. So what's your opinion on a 9 to 5 income?
My opinion on a 9 to 5 income is that it's not, I don't think it's selling your soul. I think it's actually finding yourself. You're doing, yes, you might not be building, like you might not be seeing yourself building towards your goals. But then what you can do is that you can use that salary to build towards your goals.
Mm,
You go to your 9 to 5, you're building your skill. You're
sure.
building a skill that you might even use maybe in your own company that you want to start. You are building soft skills, you're building hard skills. You're also being sure to maybe even put a few projects under your belt to say, you know what, I worked on this project in this company, in
Mm,
X company. And the fact that you worked in X company or you've worked on that type of project, you never know who can even contract you to work on that project as a single person instead of working on it with that company that you're working on.
absolutely.
So it's just looking at it as building your skills, making an impact, because one way or another, you are making an impact. And look at it that way. You're not selling your soul. You're not building someone else's dream. Yes, you might be, building what someone else has built initially. But at the end of the day, you are also building yourself, you're also building your skills. And with the income aspect of it, it's very possible to get your income from your 9 to 5 and build towards what you really want to work towards.
Absolutely.
So you take your 9 to 5 money, you say, okay, maybe 30% of it is going to go into X investment. X investment is going to be catered to maybe helping me build my consulting firm or a microfinance or anything that you really want to do. So it's about just looking at it with a plan in mind, a goal in mind. As I
Mhm.
said, the biggest mistake that I made was not having a goal in mind. What is your goal? Where do you eventually want to be? What do you think your 9 to 5 money can do for you? And do it. Eventually, it won't be easy. It's not a straight path. You every month, you won't just. It won't be easy, but you have to sacrifice some things in order to build towards your equity. There's a lot of things that you
Sure.
can sacrifice in order to say, you know what, maybe I won't be doing this month. I'll take this money and put it in that saving box where I'm working towards registering my consulting company. And you can also bootstrap. Like it's really hard. We're expecting someone to come fund us, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have to bootstrap in order to convince investors that if you can build your own money, if you can be, that that's strict with your
Yeah.
own money, you can also be very strict with their money. They can also see the impact that you're making with your own money, because if it's your own money, it hurts.
It hurts, eh?
It burns. It
It
burns your
hurts.
pocket.
It
Sometimes
hurts.
it's losses on losses. Sometimes it's wins on wins. But at the end of the day, you tell them, I've bootstrapped. I've managed to do this with the little that I had. And this is the impact that I've managed to make. So this is what I can do with what you can give me. So there's a lot you can do with your 9 to 5 salary. There's a lot you can learn from your 9 to 5. There's a lot you can sell yourself from, basing it on your tasks that you did in your 9 to 5.
And I think just to add on to that, your 9 to 5 is actually a career.
It is.
Not all of us are meant to be entrepreneurs. Not all of us are meant to start businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Your 9 to 5 you can have investments. You can invest in yourself as a professional, and you can do a lot of things within the 9 to 5 scope.
That is
So
true.
you decided to, after the blunder, you're like, okay, I'm gonna use my 9 to 5, and I'm going to start or co-found microfinance. Tell us about Prime Capital and what it does.
Okay, so Prime Capital is registered microfinance, registered with the central bank, as every microfinance should be.
Shade.
Registered. So our aim is to assist MSMEs in our country to get access to finance. The access to finance that sometimes they do not have because they don't have credit history.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to help them get access to that finance using two types of financing, which is purchase order financing. So we help you if you have a contract that has a purchase order, we help you fulfill that contract, and we also do invoice discounting. So let's say you have fulfilled a contract and now you have an invoice, but the payment has not come yet, but you have some costs that you have to cover. We help you cover those costs, and then when the invoice comes out, then we can get paid from that. So that's what we are doing at the moment. We also do have individual personal loans, but our biggest goal is to assist MSMEs in their financial needs, so that because we understand how much they contribute to the economy.
Yeah.
We understand how most people start MSMEs because maybe they are following their passion, or maybe they cannot sometimes find a job, so they do need someone to help them where they are, so that eventually they can get access to larger larger financial vehicles or larger investment vehicles, but they need someone to give them that push, and we want to be there to give MSMEs that push to become greater businesses. It's very sad when you're an MSME and no financial institution wants to
It's willing to
touch
bet
you,
on you, hey?
willing to bet on you. So we just like to give them that financial history, financial credit, or that stamp to say, okay, we support you. We're here to support you. This is how we can support you. And this is how we want you to grow and become bigger and better, because every single year there'll be MSMEs coming in.
Sure.
Like, we can't just say, okay, we're supporting you and we want you to stay being an MSME. We don't want you to stay being an MSME. You should become a big business. We support you. We pass you through to the next person who can help you grow bigger. We support MSMEs in order to help them, grow and access finance that they would otherwise not be able to access if they didn't have credit history.
Wow. So as a co-founder, young women doing business in Lesotho as well, also juggling other things, what have been some of the highs and the lows of the entrepreneurial journey?
Honestly, it's hard. It's hard, but I'd say the highs are seeing the number of international institutions that want to come into the country and that are aligned with the mission that we have at Prime Capital, and that are willing to also work with young entrepreneurs like myself in order to ensure that that mission is reached. A lot of international corporations, or a lot of international companies that are coming into the country, or organizations rather, coming into the country saying they want to help MSMEs, but they need to partner up with existing microfinance companies in the country. And they don't just look at, okay, no, you're young, so we won't partner with you. They look at the impact you have made. They look at the potential you have. They look at the vision you have for your company. They look at the vision you have for the country, and they are willing, to work with you and partner with you. And I'd say those are the highs. And the lows are that it's just very sad that there's so many MSMEs that are available in the country that do not have access to finance, but we can't help all of them.
Sure.
It's just, it's something. You wake up in the morning, you say, I want to help MSMEs, but then an MSME comes, and then you realize that, okay, there's so many of them, but there's so few of us that are doing exactly what has to be done for them. So it's just something that is really stressful. You feel like sometimes you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, reality is we can't do it alone. We need to partner up with some existing organizations that have the same mission in order to ensure that we help MSMEs. So I think, yeah, those are the lows that I have personally experienced, just having so many MSMEs, but being one person or two people and
Sure.
not being able to assist all
All
of
of
them
them.
when we would like to assist all of them.
Yeah. And I think according to the FinScope report of 2021, there's approximately almost 177,000
Exactly.
MSMEs. So that's a big, big, big pool, right?
That's a big,
Yeah.
big pool. And there's a few of us, who have this purchase order finance and, and invoice discounting finance that can assist these MSMEs with, with the kind of interest that we have, not just to make ourselves enrich ourselves, but to also see the MSMEs being sustainable, because what matters is sustainability. We can't
Sustainability.
have over 170,000 MSMEs and then half of them can't even be sustainable, because what matters is sustainability. Once an MSME is sustainable, it means that it's contributing to the economy and therefore the economy becomes sustainable.
Sure. Whew, interesting. So now, blockchain, right? It's a buzzword. It's been a buzzword for a while. So for the ordinary person who does not know what blockchain is, let's talk about blockchain.
Okay, I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible.
Please.
So, in the simplest terms, a blockchain is a decentralized database. By decentralized, I mean that the data that is stored on the blockchain is not stored on one place. It's stored on different, they call it nodes in the blockchain world, but it's really just computers. Like, it's stored on
Jargon.
different computers. A lot of people in the blockchain space, I don't know if they want to gatekeep, but I don't think they do. But they use a lot of jargon. But yes, it is a decentralized database that stores data in a way that cannot be edited, deleted. And in the blockchain world, they say it's immutable. So if you hear the word immutable, it just simply means the data cannot be altered, changed, nor deleted. So it is, yeah, it stores data, and it stores data in a way that it can be shared across different networks. So it's a peer-to-peer sharing kind of network, and it's mostly used in, I think the first use, I'd say successful use case, is in cryptocurrencies, where the transactions between the currencies are shown on, or rather stored on, the blockchain using cryptography, which is a type of, it's like cryptic language
Yeah.
that cannot be deciphered by other people, but can be deciphered by the computers. So essentially, it's just a decentralized database. It stores data. People should stop, It's a database. It's simply just a database that stores data, but it doesn't store it in one place. It decentralizes it so that it can easily be tracked and transactions can easily be tracked.
So I'm sitting here listening to this podcast. Nene is talking about blockchain. It's a decentralized database. How does that benefit me as a business? How does that benefit me as a country, as an economy? Why should I care about blockchain?
I think it's very important to care about blockchain, especially if, let's say, you have a business, or you're just, an ordinary person. If you have a business, what happens is that with blockchain, you can use it to enhance your business in regards to data. So apart from that, even as a person, you can find out more about cryptocurrencies and find out how they can benefit you or how you can use them. I'm not going to say how. I'm not going to say people should do XYZ.
Sure.
But it's normally up to the people to find out how they can effectively use cryptocurrencies and how they can effectively use blockchain. Most times, I'll give an example of a blockchain use case that I feel like we can benefit from as a country. I'll give two
Okay.
that I've seen work. One is in providing university degrees. There's a school that I work in that uses blockchain degrees. So it's very easy to now say, okay, this person did not graduate from this school. If you don't have that blockchain, they give you a code
Sure.
that you can enter, and then you can retrieve your certificate from the blockchain. And it can really assist in, seeping out the people who have
The
not really gone,
fraudsters.
fraudsters who have not really gone to that particular university. Because especially here we have, a university that takes about, a lot of students, over 20,000 students. And sometimes I can just create a certificate and say I
Mm.
graduated from XYZ. You can't say I didn't because you weren't there,
No.
So it's very like with blockchain, you can like mitigate those kind of risks of fraudsters maybe joining your companies or saying they studied at this university while they didn't, by allowing them to just give you their code and then you just look for it in that particular blockchain system or blockchain application that they have.
Mm.
And then a second one would be creating digital identities. It would be really good for us to have digital identities because, again, fraud. We've had a lot of cases, especially in the finance or microfinance industry in the country, where there was a lot of identity fraud, and you'd find yourself providing finance to a person who has used another person's personal details
Sure.
to get it, and then this person doesn't even know that there's a loan in their name,
Sure.
and all their data is there, and now they have a loan that's not even theirs.
Sure.
Like, what do you do in a case like this?
Mm.
So, if we have digital identity, that can't be edited, that is secure, that can't be, changed by anyone, then you can maybe mitigate these kind of risks that we experience in the microfinance or even in the finance industry as a whole in the country. There's a lot of use cases, like we're a country that produces natural resources. You can use it as a supply chain for the natural resources, or even tracking where the natural resource comes from. There's a lot of ways that you can use blockchain technology, especially in a country like ours.
So you unlocked yourself some opportunities within the blockchain. You were a speaker, you were a blogger. How is that going?
I'm a blogger on a break.
It happens. Hey, it really happens. So
Yes.
it's okay to take a break every now and then.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, blockchain has unlocked quite a number of opportunities for me. Blogging, it's really interesting to educate people about blockchain, educate people about what other countries are doing. Yes, I did during, when blockchain was coming up and everyone wanted
Sure.
to know what it was about. I think this was around 2017. I was still in Mauritius, and Mauritius was really moving ahead with blockchain. They even had a huge blockchain conference where I had the opportunity to speak to different blockchain entrepreneurs about what they were doing in their different countries and also to write about that. It was also really great to write about it because you get to show people the potential of the technology. You get to show people what other countries are doing. You get to show people how they can also implement blockchain in their daily lives, because there's use cases here. Mauritius was really, and it still is, moving ahead with blockchain with the times. They have their own particular laws. They had a sandbox that allowed people to come, or businesses to come, test out, blockchain, so that they could really create rules and regulations that could govern blockchain. And I think I just really love countries that implement sandboxes, because a sandbox allows you to come with any idea that you have with the emerging technology, so that you can work hand in hand with the government to create laws and regulations that will help govern that kind of technology. So it helps, ordinary people come in and say, look, I have this idea. They'll allow you to test it out and see how it can work for the progression of businesses or the company itself. And then, or the country itself. And then apart from that, I still also do speaking in different countries. I've done most of my speaking in Mauritius, where I also shared about blockchain and how it could really enhance the economy, how it can enhance different industries such as supply chains, health industry, and just many industries.
So you're doing blogging, you're a co-founder of a business, you also do have a 9 to 5 in a career. How do you juggle all those things, and how do you take care of your mental health?
That's a very
Is there even
interesting
a balance?
question.
Is there even a
That's a
balance?
very interesting question, but I try as much as I can to balance it. Like on like my Mondays to Fridays, I really just focus on showing up professionally. I focus on showing up professionally in every aspect that, I can. If it means showing up for my 9 to 5, like fully, I do that. Showing up for my business, Prime Capital, I do that. Showing up for maybe blogging or speaking engagement, I do that. So that's what I intend to do because I understand that at the end of the day, it's about the equity that I'm building. I don't want to be waking up having to do the same thing over and over again for the rest of my life.
Sure.
So that's just me. Everyone has their different perspectives, everyone has their different goals, but I don't want it to be like that for me every single time. I want to get to a point where I'm just doing short term or maybe middle term projects and also focusing on Prime Capital. That's where I want to find myself. So in order to do that, I have to be building the skill, be focusing on showing up every single time and showing up 100% and not showing up 20% for this one. And sometimes it happens, sometimes you're tired, you're human, but the aim is just to show up and show up to the ability that you can. Weekends, I really just focus on family and friends. I ensure that, okay, my weekends, I spend them with my family because you never know what might happen, to your family. And it's very important to also set that out. As much as you are a working professional with so many things that you have going on, family is one thing that can root you and remind you, also give you the strength to also remember where you're going and where you come from, which is very important. And also your friends, it's very, it's nice having the banter, chilling and just talking about things that are even outside of the scope of work,
Sure.
because you can't be, sometimes you go somewhere and someone wants to approach you and they want to talk about work. It's a Saturday. You're like,
Like,
please, not
today I'm showing up.
today.
Today I'm showing up socially,
Today
not
it's the
professionally.
social me. So it's things like that. You just have to be strict with yourself and really just it's not perfect. It's not as I'm saying it. Sometimes on Monday to Friday, sometimes on Thursdays, I am tired. I'm like, you know what? Like maybe I can just do this thing from 9 to 12 because I am tired. I am exhausted. It's only human to get tired. So also listen to your body, listen to what it says because you only have one body. You have to take care of
Only have one
it.
body.
You have to take care of it. And for it to take care of you, you have to take care of it. So just listen to your body. But at the end of the day, show up for the self that you want to be in the future.
New year, new goals. What does 2024 look like for you as Nene and for your Prime Capital as well as we wrap up the conversation?
2024. Oh my goodness. I think, as I mentioned, there's a lot of international organizations that are aligned with the mission.
Aligned.
They understand where we're going, So I just can't wait to see what relationships can form from that and what impact can be made from that. And at this point, I don't know if I should say, there's a Nene and there's a Prime Capital. At this point, I feel like
That's one and the
I'm
same.
Prime Capital. Prime Capital is me.
Sure.
We'll get to a point. The point is that I'm trying to get to is a point where now I exist out of Prime Capital. Prime Capital exists on itself and it's no longer linked to, Nene is no longer linked to my co-founder, but it's a separate entity that exists on itself that we can, work towards also. So 2024 has a lot in store in regards to international collaborations, international partnerships, and I just can't wait because I feel like it's going to be a year where we can maybe expand our reach to and help more MSMEs in regards to their financial needs.
Girl, closing remarks as we close this amazing second take of the interview. What do you say to the young trailblazers who are watching this particular episode? Yeah. Words of wisdom.
Words of
Oh, words of
wisdom.
encouragement, rather.
Words of
Yeah.
encouragement. Okay. I think the one thing I'd like to say to everyone who's watching this, actually, not even just young people, everyone who's watching this, is that pursue what you want with everything that you have. Because at the end of the day, when you're not sure about what to do, ask your 90-year-old self on your deathbed what you should have done.
Girl,
Because
deep.
I feel like I feel like that's where you get most of your answers from. When you see different people doing different things, it's not a must that everyone should be an entrepreneur. It's really not. Whatever you have in mind for yourself is something that you should really pursue with all your might. Be willing to always show up, build towards what you want to build each and every day. Tell yourself that, okay, this is my goal. Set a goal and work towards it with everything that you have, because you don't want to be 90 years old regretting things that you did not do that you should have done. You don't want to be, on your deathbed regretting things that you really should have pursued, and you're wondering, how would that have turned out? How would my life have turned out if I had pursued what I really wanted to pursue? So it's just about following what you really want to do and ensuring that you show up every day. It's very important. From the little things you do, from arriving on time, that's how you show up. From arriving at a place, if let's say you have to meet someone at a certain time, arrive on time. You never know what that opportunity has for you. And at the end of the day, give everyone an ear. Be willing to listen to anyone. You never know what someone can teach you. You never know what someone you meet on the street can teach you. So it's always good to always be respectful to everyone. Listen to what everyone has to say. Show up on time, and always ensure that you wake up in the morning working towards what you are trying to build.
Woo. Show up and show up on time, show up for yourself, and pursue whatever it is that sets your heart on fire. You've been listening to My Money Adventures podcast. It's available on Spotify. It's also on Apple Podcasts and, of course, Google Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, also remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think about this, and also share it with your family and friends who can benefit from it. It's a new year. We have New Year's resolutions. So my question to you is, what do you want to make of 2024? A big shout out to my creative team, Matsuso Photography behind the lens, and of course, Biza Streets, the sound engineer for this podcast, and of course, my absolutely beautiful, talented, well-spoken guests. But also, I never say thank you to me.
True, actually.
Thank you to me for always showing up, guys. It's not easy creating content, but I love it, and I love it for the community. So, to all my fellow trailblazers, do remember to also follow our blog. I will link it below. It's mymoneyadventures.com. And of course, sign up to our newsletter for personal finance content every week. That newsletter is fire. So make sure that you're signed up to it and you are part of the community. So until the next video, 2024, new beginnings, new years. Cheers to you. Bye. Cheers, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.